Today, we're going to talk about CathTech. CathTech is an idea talking about that data information is not being shared in cath labs, which actually causes that there is no set benchmark for cath labs to work towards. طيب ليش CathTech أو ليش إن الidea is not أو data is not shared? It's a big problem. We have a lot of cath labs in Saudi Arabia from diverse background, like private sectors, Ministry of Health, or military. So data is actually being conducted and collected in silo. They are not sharing data, which means that data is not given for research purposes, which means that data is not uplifting the quality of care provided. Also, a catheterization lab are not going towards excellence. So in order to reduce the financial burden, we need to share this data. CathTech is actually to create a central registry that allows knowledge share between catheterization lab to achieve excellence. The benefits that CathTech can provide is actually reducing the financial burden, reduce medical malpractice, and improve procedures quality, unifying procedure benchmark, and improving quality of life. The value proposition that we offer is that CathTech helps catheterization labs achieve a desirable quality of care through knowledge exchange. With the slide demo, my colleague Faraz.
Assalamu alaikum. Now I'm going to explain how our project will work. So we propose to provide a database, okay, which will collect a data from the cath labs from different hospitals, just to make sure we collect all the advantages from the high quality centers, okay, and we can also use the universities to make some research purposes to improve all the collected data together, and then publish a report that will inform all the hospital which they provide the data for from the cath labs. So by this way, we get all the information which is has a benefit and big effect on all the hospitals.
Previous financial studies in US said that around $52,000 is actually used as a financial support for improving quality of cath labs. Saying that we have over 120 cath labs, for improving cath lab in Saudi Arabia, we would need 6.24 million. But CathTech actually, of an investment of $1 million, we could save around $5 million. And thank you. Any questions?
Assuming that all these cardiac centers, they would transmit all their cath lab data to a server. What's the IT in this? I'm not sure if I understand that.
Okay, a central registry that collects data from
A registry.
Yes.
And all the images of all these cath lab data will be transferred to there? The
Yes.
images?
No, not images. Data registry like readmission, admission rates, quality use protocols, etc., so that we can unify a benchmark for all cath labs to go towards.
So there is something called the NCDR registry, where some of the hospitals here in the country are participating in. It belongs to the American College of Cardiology. Yes. It basically serves the same purpose. So the hospitals that are registered in this NCDR registry, they enter all these quality metric and everything related to the procedure is being transmitted to that database. So what is the difference here?
We seek to make it locally, like in KSA, with the support of Ministry of Health and NHIC, to create a central registry that that set a benchmark. There is no benchmark for cath labs or quality or protocols. So to unify a benchmark, like let's say مثلا Shmesi is a great hospital with great outcomes, and another hospital like in Abha or whatever actually doesn't have the same quality. They doesn't have the same quality because they doesn't have the same information, and they don't use the data that is used by Shmesi. So if they have the data that is used by Shmesi, they will go towards them. So we are like unifying a benchmark for cath labs to go towards. Yes, definitely.
Go and see like how much work is put like in the small cities. But like the one thing that I want to mention is just putting in all the data and doing in like proper data. You need a lot of, it's a very tedious process. That like how are you gonna get buy-ins from the hospital to allocate? It's not a one person job that can give you all the data, because you don't want quality data. Because like if you get garbage in, garbage out, so you have how are you gonna get the hospitals to go through the logistics of giving you the data, plus giving you someone to enter all of this data? So I think you're going for an uphill battle.
Yes, actually, we cannot do this by ourselves. We need help from NHIC and Ministry of Health. But doing it as an institute or as a company, it's not possible. Yes.
Just to touch on the doctor's point, I think from the cath lab's perspectives, there is incredible quality of practitioners throughout the kingdom, okay? But the issues that are faced from my previous experience was justification for use of new emerging technologies, okay? So I understand the fact that it could be difficult to collect the data. However, most hospitals do them anyways, and they already have allocated individuals who record the information. I don't necessarily need the images or all these scans. Necessarily, or more than likely, you would need the, let's say, case rate. How many PCIs did he do this year? What's the readmission rate? How many ISRs? This data is valuable, and if it's recognized from the Saudi Heart Association as this is the center of excellence in Saudi, based on numbers, that will encourage the rest of the population, let's say, to work towards that new benchmark. Yes. Whether it be al-Askari or, by the way, Abha has a huge number of TAVI cases, so they're incredible. That's a plus over there. But aside from that, it is, let's say, putting a justification purpose to, let's say, uplift the quality. يعني لما يجيك واحد منطقة طرفية, which they have amazing technologies, but they have issues justificating why they would use, wallahi, X amount of imaging technologies, or X amount of Y technologies. If the standard of excellence or the best practice has that, it's a case that's already half built. So that's where I see the value in this kind of
yes, this is our point. This is our value proposal. Thank you. Yes.
I think what you're trying to achieve is excellent, and the problem is in the details and how to actually achieve that goal. The goal that you're trying to achieve is wonderful. It's just how we achieve that target. As has been said, there are many institutions that already have an existing database or registry in-house. There are challenges. One of the biggest challenges is that if these systems do not extract data directly from electronic medical records, this data has to be entered manually. And entering manual data is time-consuming and something that requires professional training and competency in order to get accurate data. When you try to do data acquisition from 2 or 3 different places, you need common definitions, you need standardization of these definitions in order that whatever benchmarks you put is applicable to all these places. And that standardization is not always easy, because everyone needs to agree on a definition that everyone will stick to. And that requires training, requires monitoring, constant validation, and above all, requires political willingness in each institution to actually voluntarily participate in a registry, or when it comes to regulation, an authority somewhere at the top which says that this is a forced registry, mandatory data entry, and mandatory, if you're going to be compensated for your work, you have to submit this data and you have to show these benchmarks. So these are all issues related to the actual implementation and achieving this goal, but no one doubts the value of actually deriving or seeing such information. That's definitely an excellent proposal, but it's the, as they say, the devil is in the details, how to actually achieve that in practice.
Yes, okay, thank you. Inshallah.
Just we have one last question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Abdullah?
Abdullah, question for you, please.
Okay, last question.
Yeah. So great idea, and I think the collaboration between all these different centers, regardless of how the level of excellence they have, will be amazing. But my question to you is about the understanding of the project. I'm thinking about a registry that connects all of these with very valuable information. But my question is, what is the type of quality you are looking forward to either adjust or improve or share? Because if you're thinking about just using the images and whatever information you have there, how are you really improving the techniques used in the cath lab, for example? How are you improving the outcomes post PCI, for example? Because these are the metrics. At the end of the day, when you think about cardiology, we think mainly about the big picture of mortality, hospitalization, quality of life. So we do all these things to get there toward the end. So how does your project input and output links to that?
Okay, data has already been collected in each institute or each hospital or each cath lab. What we admire is that we want to create a registry, a data registry for all case data, reports and protocols used and imaging techniques, also for case data like ISR, etc., to collect it in a central database, database registry, so that all hospitals can seek towards excellence. So seek towards the benchmark that we will actually scale, inshallah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Abdullah. I think regarding the details, we should have some time to clarify all the analysis processes for all the projects. So Amina, تفضل.
الحضور الكريم، الآن ندعو لجنة التحكيم للاجتماع لإعلان أسماء الفائزين، وهم الدكتورة هدى الفردوس. تفضلي دكتورة هدى، تفضلي. الدكتور محمد الحمالي، الدكتور أحمد دمرقاش، والدكتور عادل طاش.